Life has a funny way of teaching us lessons often when we least expect them. My story starts a few months ago when I moved into what I thought was my dream neighborhood. Quiet streets, friendly faces, the whole 9 yards. I'm Mark, by the way. I'm a veteran, and these days, I walk with a bit of a limp and a state-of-the-art prosthetic leg, a constant reminder of my last tour overseas. I was looking forward to some peace, some quiet, and maybe getting to know my new neighbors. Little did I know, I was about to meet the final boss of all neighborhood watchdogs, Karen. Karen was the self-appointed queen of the homeowners association. She had a clipboard that seemed permanently attached to her hand and an eagle eye for any infraction, no matter how small. My first run-in with her was over my lawn. Apparently it was 1/4 of an inch too long. 1/4 of an inch. I got a finely printed passive-aggressive note slipped under my door. I just chuckled, mowed the lawn, and thought that would be the end of it. Oh, how wrong I was. Next, it was my trash cans. They were visible from the street for exactly 15 minutes past the designated hideaway time. Another note. Then, it was the color of my welcome mat. Apparently, forest green was not on the approved palette of earth tones. It felt less like a neighborhood and more like a high-security prison where the warden was obsessed with beige. Most of my neighbors just sighed and complied. "It's just Karen being Karen," they'd say with an eye roll. "It's easier to just do what she says." But her focus soon shifted from my lawn to my leg. It started subtly. A lingering stare when I was getting my mail. A whispered comment to another neighbor as I walked by. Then it became more direct. One afternoon, while I was washing my car, she marched right up to me. "Mark," she started without any greeting, "several residents have expressed concern." I stopped wiping down the hood. "Concern? About what?" "About you," she said, gesturing vaguely towards my prosthetic. "This is a family-friendly community. We have children. The sight of your appendage can be unsettling. It's just not the image we want to project." I was stunned. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I've faced a lot in my life, but I never expected to be shamed for a sacrifice I made. It's a prosthetic leg, Karen. It's a part of me. It's not something I can just hide away like a trash can. Her face hardened. "Well, perhaps you should consider wearing long pants at all times. It's a matter of public decency and maintaining our community standards." That was the last straw. This wasn't about lawns or welcome mats anymore. This was about who I was. The bullying escalated. She'd make comments loud enough for me to hear at community gatherings. "Some people just don't fit the mold," she'd say, looking pointedly in my direction. She even tried to pass a new bylaw requiring residents to cover any unnatural body modifications in common areas. It was absurd, targeted, and deeply hurtful. My quiet, peaceful life was turning into a daily battle. I felt isolated. The whispers and stares from other neighbors who were too scared of Karen to speak up were almost as bad as her direct attacks. I considered moving, but then a different feeling took over. Resolve. Why should I be the one to leave? I hadn't done anything wrong. The annual HOA community barbecue was coming up. It was the biggest event of the year, and Karen, of course, was the master of ceremonies. She loved the spotlight, the microphone, the power. I knew this was my chance. Not for revenge, but for the truth. The day of the barbecue arrived. The park was filled with families, music, and the smell of grilled burgers. Karen was in her element, flitting from group to group, clipboard in hand, ensuring everything was up to her standards. After the food, she took the stage to give her annual State of the Neighborhood address. She talked about property values, landscaping awards, and the importance of uniformity. Then she paused, and a sly smile crossed her face. "And I want to address a sensitive issue," she began. "Maintaining our community's aesthetic is paramount. We must all be mindful of the image we present, for the sake of our children and our collective peace of mind." Everyone knew who she was talking about. I could feel the eyes on me, my hands clenched. When she finished her speech and opened the floor for community comments, I knew it was now or never. I took a deep breath and walked towards the stage. My prosthetic made a soft, rhythmic sound on the pavement. The park grew quiet. I took the microphone from her hand. Her eyes widened in surprise and annoyance. "Hello, everyone," I started, my voice steadier than I expected. "My name is Mark, and I live at number 42. Many of you know me as the guy with the prosthetic leg. For the past few months, Karen has made it very clear that she, and supposedly others, find it unsettling. I looked directly at Karen. Her face was turning a shade of crimson that wasn't on the approved HOA color palette. I haven't talked much about how I lost my leg, I continued, my voice growing stronger. I've always felt it was a private matter. But privacy ends when you're being bullied for it. You see, I lost my leg in Afghanistan. I was part of a special operations team. Our mission was to rescue a group of civilian aid workers who had been captured. One of them was a young man, a volunteer, barely 20 years old. I paused, letting the weight of my words sink in. We came under heavy fire during the extraction. The young man, the one we were there to save, was hit. He was wounded and couldn't move. An RPG was fired at our position. I didn't have time to think, just reacted. I grabbed him and threw him into cover, taking the full brunt of the blast myself. I looked out at the crowd of faces, which were now filled with shock and dawning understanding. I lost my leg that day, but we got him out. We got everyone out. The young man I saved, he made a full recovery. He went on to live his life, to have a future. Then, I turned my gaze back to Karen, who looked like she'd seen a ghost. Her face was completely white. See, Karen, you talk a lot about your family. You talk a lot about your son, who you're so proud of. It's the one who spent a year overseas doing humanitarian work. A wave of gasps rippled through the crowd. People started connecting the dots. I let the silence hang in the air for a moment. That young man, the one I pulled from the fire, his name was Daniel, your son, Karen. I lost my leg saving your son's life. The microphone fell from her hand with a loud thud. The entire park was silent. Karen just stood there, her mouth open, tears welling up in her eyes. All the arrogance, all the authority, just evaporated. She looked at my leg, then at my face, and for the first time, she saw me. Really saw me. She stumbled off the stage without a word and disappeared into the crowd. The next day, a letter of resignation was sent to every home in the neighborhood. Karen and her family moved out a month later, but something more important happened. The culture of the neighborhood changed. People started talking to me, not with pity, but with respect. They'd ask about my story, they'd thank me for my service. My welcome mat was no longer a source of contention. It was a conversation starter. The invisible walls that Karen had built with her rules and regulations came tumbling down. We learned that a community isn't built on matching color palettes or perfectly manicured lawns. It's built on empathy. It's built on understanding that every person has a story. And sometimes, the things that look like imperfections are actually symbols of incredible strength and sacrifice. My prosthetic leg is no longer a source of shame in my neighborhood. It's a reminder. A reminder that we are all connected in ways we might never imagine, and that a little bit of compassion goes a lot further than any rulebook ever will. Thanks for listening to my story. If you found it meaningful, please give this video a like and subscribe for more content that explores the human side of things. See you next time.